Finally, like, I could say, like, this is what the American dream should be. It shouldn't be this systematic thing that we've all grown up with.
Possibility to find it for yourself.
Yeah,
I think.
And it's we're taught such a wrong perception of what it is our entire lives, and it's sad that so few people figure it out. Majority will not.
Welcome back to another episode of Lionheart Radio with your host, Rick Alexander. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. So just a few weeks ago, I was doing a bit for school on this thing called Mile High Underground, and I had to come up with a bit. And so what I decided to do was to break down the American dream, because it's been my experience that what is portrayed as the American dream, like what all of you are thinking about and hustling toward and striving for in your life, isn't necessarily how it plays out in reality. When you start actually going after the things that you want, you realize there's a lot of dissonance between what you're told success is and then what success actually feels like once you attain those things. And so that was sort of the background onto the bit. And one of my buddies here, Andriy Polietov, yeah, you nailed it. I think. Yeah, I can make anything up for about 2 seconds. And until you realize I'm not actually cultured. And you have an interesting story. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk about an outsider's view sort of on the American dream and sort of get into your story. Because I think that, well, we'll just get into it and we'll see what kind of insights kind of pop up organically.
Yeah, so... again, name is Andriy Polietov.
Also, thanks for being on, man.
Of course, yeah, no problem. I've been bugging you about it, and here we are.
Yeah.
American Dream's very, very unique conversation or take in my family. When I came here, I came to the United States, to Brooklyn, New York, which is a typical, I guess you could say, a typical spot for a lot of immigrants to start out. Is usually like New York. You hear about it a lot. Very diverse area. So to go back, my mom had won a lottery that allows you to take your family and come to the United States legally. That's how that worked. Now, the lottery is just, that's all it is. It's just the ability to come. Like, it's not free.
It's a straight up luck of the draw.
It is. And it's an international lottery. It's extremely hard to win. But back in the day when she had won, the nice thing about it was if you won, you are able to bring a whole bunch of your immediate family with you. It's not like that anymore. So she had won the lottery. I was 7 years old. We're living in Chernovtsi, which is a small town in Ukraine.
Okay.
So small town boy, won the lottery. Again, it's just an opportunity. It's not like your travel or anything is paid for. You just, come here and make it work. So we came to Brooklyn. It was a whole different scene, obviously. I'm surprised we made it this far. I mean, for my family, obviously we don't know the language, and we're in the most fast-paced working place in the world, right? It's a whole different scenery. I was shocked as a kid. Like, this is just something completely different. And a lot of times I remember in school or just for my family, American Dream popped up. I mean, even my cousin had a shirt with the American Dream. He was so excited to come to the United States because his perception of the American Dream was like, man, like, we're really going to make this happen for us. Like, our entire family, like, we're going to get it done. And so as a kid, and a lot of people could really relate to this, you're always constantly, like, almost programmed into your head, go to school, make it happen, right? Everyone's going to follow the exact same path. You finish your grade school and then you move on to college. That's how you achieve the American dream. Mm-hmm. It's almost, we're led to believe that there's no other way to accomplish it.
That's what kills me, is that, like, that is a way, and traditionally it's been the way, but it's certainly not the only way.
No, not at all. And you look at some of the most expensive people, that wasn't their way at all.
Right. And if you look at, the most successful people that get out of the matrix somehow, and then they create the systems that everybody else falls in.
Exactly. So it was really just kind of, again, embedded in my head. And and even like during like teacher parent conferences, like stuff like that is always just even embedded in your parents' heads. It's just a constant just school to achieve that goal, right? And obviously, you know, as a kid, you're going through, you're not thinking about things like adulthood's so different.
Right. But you are interpreting it subconsciously, right? Like
of course.
You are, so like I think this is worth unpacking a little bit just because it's like you said, it's always pushed down your throat, like this is the way that success happens. But the truth is, like, if your brain is set up a different way, like if your psychological makeup is such that you don't fit well in the systems,
right,
because you've been told that this is what success looks like, you're constantly apologizing for who you are.
Exactly.
Right? Because they don't say, oh, you're in the wrong system. They say you need to be more like this guy that actually does fit in the system.
Yes. And with my parents coming here, obviously the expectation for the younger ones, which is really just me and my cousin, is you have to go to school, you have to get it done, you know, and there's lots of pressure on us as well because they made that sacrifice. And as you get older, you start to really think about that. I mean, imagine just going to a completely foreign place, not understanding language, and trying to just simply survive. I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment in a very bad neighborhood in Brooklyn with just the 12 of us.
Damn. Did you speak English at all?
No. No, I remember not having any support from my teachers. I remember one of my teachers was telling me to do something. I had no idea what she was telling me. Obviously, I don't understand her. And she humiliated me in front of the entire class. She like dragged me by the arm, made me stand in front of the class, and just scolded me right in front of them. And it really... and that was my introduction to the United States. Like, here you are.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Damn, dude. And you know what's crazy is, like, this is what kills me is, like, this one teacher who, you know, she just, the way that she's navigating life is one way. And then it's like, but for you, that becomes a representation of all of America.
Yes.
Because it's like the first thing you get to.
Yes. I remember, like, you know, we even had, like, playgrounds. We can't go to the playground. No, recess was inside in an empty gym.
Damn.
Because obviously not the best neighborhood to send kids out to the playground.
Right.
You know what I mean? So definitely it's just a completely different life for me.
I think, and I just want to say one more thing. I think that that's something worth thinking about too for the listeners. Like, what are you a representation of? Because sometimes it's easy to get caught in your own head when you're having a bad day and you're angry or something, and then somebody, I don't know, somebody's walking out the door and you just close the door behind them or whatever. It's like you're always a representative of something, right? Of the job you do or however, whatever context people know you in. And so if you take that mindset to things, I'm just thinking of this because of your teacher, but it's like if you take that mindset that you are a representation of all of the things that you stand for, it'll help you show up better in the moment because you're less likely to make snap judgments and be an asshole real fast,
right,
like based on something like that.
Right.
If you were to explain to that teacher, like, hey, you understand that you're representing all of America for this person that's going to grow up in this country?
Yeah, and I, you know, even growing up after I moved to Colorado, I just had a really bad experience as a kid with teachers. I felt like I never really got the support. And I don't mean to bring race into this, but it played a really big factor in me growing up, which was a very strange thing because race was not even any bit of a factor in the Ukraine, which doesn't seem like it was growing up. It was so even in middle school, I remember being bullied by these Latino kids, and essentially they had accused me of calling them beaners.
Okay.
No such thing happened. I didn't understand what that meant. I ended up talking to a Spanish dean who, all she saw was little blonde white kid with blue eyes.
Right.
Whose side did she take? You know, it's stuff like that where it really put me into my shell. Like, I really went inwards.
Yeah.
When I grew up as an outgoing kid, it really...
Because you're misunderstood.
Yeah, very misunderstood.
Yeah. I mean, with the teachers and that situation with other kids, it's like both
it's kind of getting off topic. But again, it is just going back to the school system.
Yeah.
Fast forwarding, after finally graduating, you know, here we are. It's college time, right? And at this point, you know, you got to go to school. because you grew up your whole life knowing that that's what you have to do. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to school. So
mentally, you didn't even feel like you had options?
No.
And I don't think
that was the only
right?
option.
Exactly.
What other option was there?
Yeah, this is the path.
There was no conversation about or any thought of ever not going to school. Because what else are you going to do?
Right.
I had no clue, right? There was no. I didn't really grow up around any examples of successful people that didn't go to school or been really taught about many.
Yeah.
So here I have to decide. All right, school. All right, so I'm in school. I enroll. I'm obviously at this point in the beginning, you're doing a lot of general eds. So you're learning history, whatever it is. It's just kind of really just whatever stuff.
Yeah.
And everyone's
stuff that doesn't resonate.
Yeah. Stuff that you really don't care about, but you're doing it because everyone else is, and you have to also, right?
Right.
And as I'm going through it, I'm like, oh man, like gotta find my way. And that's what. And the funny thing, a lot of those early college professors that you get are like, this is designed for you to find your passion or whatever. If you haven't chosen, these classes are designed to get you to choose the path that you want to take for the rest of your life.
Such a ridiculous proposition.
Yeah.
You're 18, figure it out. Like,
exactly.
What do you want to do for the rest of your life?
And take these.
Then go into debt for it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, doing that, and I'm getting close to, fast forward a few years, and I'm getting closer to pretty much getting done with all my prereqs, and I'm like, I really gotta decide, what's the next path here. Pretty much at this point, everyone is at a stage where they're choosing all of their majors. So what do I got to do? I got to choose my major because you can't just graduate there's no bachelor degree in general, I don't know, classes or whatever it is, right? So you gotta choose something. So I'm like, oh man, America runs on business. Yeah, let's go with that. Business. Yeah, I'll be a businessman. Let's do business. Yeah. I don't know what that meant.
Right.
But at this point, so I enroll in the business school at my college, and get in, and here I am doing business classes, and I'm like, oh man, here I am. What am I gonna do with all this? I don't understand. At this point, I don't even understand what kind of work I'm gonna do.
Right.
But I'm doing business.
Right. Going into debt for it, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All in the process. So at this point, I'm starting to think a whole lot about life.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, start considering what is actually important to you. Because at the same time, while I'm thinking about this, it is important for me to help my parents and kind of, in a sense, I have this sense of like wanting to repay them for making the sacrifice, for bringing us here, for bringing us to this land that offers you the American dream.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. But at the same time, I'm starting to, like, depression is really starting to set in, thinking about it.
Yeah, you can only continue on a path that doesn't feel like authentic. If like your path doesn't resonate, I feel like you can only, dumb yourself down and continue on that path for so long before you ask, like, is this all there is? Like, is this what life's about? And I understand that business is very important to know for anyone. There's really good things you could learn. Sure.
In a lot of, that whole field.
I'd argue you could learn more just by starting a business, but yes.
Yes.
I agree.
The issue that I had with the business program is business culture. It's this white man dominated culture where they're really teaching you to put on this persona and be that way.
Yeah.
And that's not me.
The culture is tyrannical in that way. Like, it's like fit in or you're wrong.
And there's other aspects here. Like,
ways.
The thing about the United States that's so different from other countries is time. Everyone is constantly worried about time here.
Right.
In every aspect, like even socially, like, whenever I go back to Europe and hang out with some people, it seems like no one cares about that.
About what?
Time. Like, no one has somewhere to be. You could hang out with people at a cafe and just really, everything is just left out the door. You guys are just in the moment of socializing and being there. No one has to run. No one's constantly checking up on their phone or,
That's so interesting.
It seems that here, that is all we worry about. You ever ask someone to hang out? Let me check my schedule.
Yeah,
Let me
we
check
did
my
it today.
schedule. Right.
Yeah.
But I understand. I get that.
Yeah.
But because things seem to move a different type of way here, we're constantly programmed to constantly be doing something, where it seems like you can't just slow down, stop, and breathe.
Right. I feel like the implied narrative of Western culture is that there's somewhere to get.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like no one says it explicitly. However, if you follow all of the directions you're taught your whole life, then you get this feeling like, okay, I'll be happy when I need to get here. I need to get this. I need this level of success. And it's like when more becomes the ideal that you fucking worship and live your life by, there's no end to it. Like there is no more. There's no amount of more that's actually going to satisfy.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that you made that you noticed that or picked up on it in other cultures, because I think about that a lot. Like it's pretty detrimental to our society.
Yeah. This is the only place where it's a norm to work 50, 60-hour work weeks. You don't do that anywhere. Well, I'm sure there's other places that, like, obviously Asian cultures kind of like that.
Well, we've tied nobility to it. Like it's noble. It's like a badge of honor if you can like work and not sleep. If you can,
but it takes away the human aspect of it. Companies want you to do that, right? But they don't care about. They're just trying to squeeze anything out of you. I worked in sales for 2 years. Was one of the best salesmen on the floor, but they almost wanted me to, because I was going to school while doing that.
Yeah.
And they almost wanted me to just not go to school and just commit to them.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird, right?
Why are you even asking that of me?
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Even though at the time, obviously in school, I had no clue what was going on. So going back to that, you start thinking a lot philosophically as to like, what is happiness? What does that mean to you? Because, as a young adult, this is the first time I'm introduced to actually thinking about things like this. You never think about things like this. And you're expected to figure it all out without really any real conversation with someone. It just kind of hits you. And so, I was in a really dark place where I was thinking, man, like, I really am growing up and I'm going to work this I'm going down the path of working a 9-to-5 job that I hate. I won't like. I know I won't, because I'm already introduced to what it's going to be like through school and through some of the work I've already done for these businesses.
Yeah.
And it started really spiraling into like a deeper and darker depression of realizing like this is it. You're about to be this cage animal. Like you're about to, like, this is what the American dream has become for you.
Yeah, and then you have to pretend you're not.
Right.
And my question is, the thing I always wonder about is like, because I can fake it too. I faked it to do well in many jobs. Like I can pretend I give a shit about the like 9-to-5 rat race, and I can show up and do a good job. And I always wondered though, because in the back of my head I knew like, okay, this isn't my authentic path. Like I feel like I'm not meant to just sit here and punch the time clock.
Right.
However, and then I look around at everybody else and I'm like, okay, so either one of two things is happening. I'm an alien in this crowd and I can just fake it to get along, or everybody's faking it and we're all like essentially like producing a veneer or a facade that like everybody else is also doing the same thing. So we're all just essentially living this fake life.
Right.
Right? Like nobody's doing anything authentic
right.
in that structure. And the more I learn about people, the more it seems like people are just faking it for the sake of getting along, essentially.
And I try to have this conversation with my friends, and it's so scary to see that a majority of them are okay or complacent with what's going on with their lives. It makes me feel like, go back to what you just said, the alien part. Like, I'm one of few thinking that this is not right.
Right.
This is not how I should be living my life. And it was scary to even. And the funny part is, I was mad at myself for having these thoughts because I felt like because I'm having these thoughts, it's almost like slapping my parents in the face.
Something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like there's something wrong with me, and I'm I'm fucked up for having these thoughts because look at what my parents have done to get me here, and I'm not okay with just sucking it up and living life like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I some form of blame was thought processing in my head as well, where I'm like, dude, like, get over it.
Yeah.
And there was a period in my life where I had to fight that. Like, no, don't get over it. Like, take control. Like, and you know, the scariest part. So at one point, you know, I was so close to graduating with my bachelor degree. I believe I'm a semester away. Mm-hmm. And I just said, I can't. I need to stop. I need to soul search. I've never developed any form of passion for anything in my life where I feel like I could look up and say, like, I could do that for the rest of my life.
You've just gone through the motions.
Right. I've just gone through the motions and never really explored really anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was like, dude, I need to soul search. I started thinking about a whole lot, like, you only get one go. One. You know, and there's obviously no redo.
Yeah, right.
Or, you know, you could
like,
reincarnate, but you're living a different life, or, you know, whatever it is afterwards that happens, right?
Right. You only get That's what I think about too, because like we don't actually know what happens after this. People speculate, whatever. But like at the end of the day, what you do know is you have this opportunity right now.
One
this
opportunity,
body, this
one
mind.
chance.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, you start thinking about that a whole lot. And I'm glad I got it. Like, you know, I'm 22. I started to think about this like around 21. Like a lot of these thoughts started circulating around my head, where obviously before they never have. And so I just told myself, stop. So I didn't go to school, and you know, I was definitely in a very big depressive state where it's a depression based on what is, you know, the biggest question is, what is my purpose? You know, like, and the American dream keeps popping up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this can't be it.
In my opinion, that's the danger of that narrative, is that like, if you're happy, if you can punch the clock and chase the money and the benefits and like that's what your life becomes and you're happy with it, you've won, because most people aren't happy. But for most people, at least for most people that I sort of associate with, the danger is that they say this is what success looks like. And so when you realize I don't fucking want that, now you blame yourself and you think like, well, something's wrong with me. If everybody's telling me this is what I need to be successful and I don't want it, what could be possibly wrong with me, right? But the truth is, you are psychologically hardwired to be a certain way. Your personality, you're not going to change it. It's natural. It's you know, it's what you're born with. The reality is most people need to figure out a way to make that work for them and build systems that work for them and a life that works for them. Yeah. But again, like what you're going through right now, this moment of resistance is like, you have no choice but to blame yourself, because you look around and everybody else is like, nope, this is what success looks like. And you're like, damn. What's wrong with me? Yeah,
it's very strange to just kind of give it all up when you were so close. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you start thinking, what am I so close to, right? Obviously nothing too great.
Yeah.
And so that's, so I pretty much just stopped, and I told myself I need to soul search. The hardest part was telling my parents. I had to sit them down. But surprisingly, what helped was my cousin. You know, the two kids that, you know, came here and really had that giant burden of, again, how, like, having the American dream always hovering over us.
Right.
And so he had I'll talk about him for a second. He had a different path where he finished school. He went for accounting, but you know, he also had the same pressure as me. You know, you have to get it done. He was a little older, so he did finish, but I was so surprised when one day he just called me and just said, please come over, I need to talk. I was like, okay. And this is one of the deepest conversations I've ever had with the guy. And, you know, from the outside looking in, I thought he was happy. He has an accounting job. He's very high up over there, gets paid very well. He's like, dude, I'm in this rat race. I fell into it. He's like, I'm depressed as all hell. He's like, I'm almost living a nightmare. It's every day is get up and do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And he was just telling me, like, I don't care about this money. I don't. It's not worth it to me. Like, he's telling me about how he wants to go back to the Ukraine. He's like, the lifestyles here. Like, you know, I met so many friends in college, but I don't talk to any of them anymore. Like, everyone's too busy to ever hang out. Everyone's constantly on this. You know, we were talking about time. Yeah, he was talking about time. He's like, it's so different here. I still, he's crazy. I still connect to people that I haven't talked to for years back in the Ukraine, but here it's just no one. You know, I'm by myself now. I don't know how to, like, and he's just telling me, like, yeah, none of this was worth it.
Damn.
And it's only, and you know, the two kids that are experiencing the depression are the ones that went through the system. You know, and we're happy. Like, our family, like, is very happy. Like, I would say, like, it's a very good family. Like, very outgoing. Everyone's very outgoing. Everyone's very, I would say, for the most part, extroverted. But just the two of us fell into this depression, like, close to the same time, where we're just, like, in this system. We're like, man, this isn't right.
Well, you know what kills me is, like, politicians and you know, people that have a national interest for whatever reason will highlight stories like that and be like, they made it. Like, literally, and even me hearing this story, like, of your cousin, it's like, you came here not knowing the language. You blazed the path. You did it. You made it. Problem is, it's not your path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I pretty much, going back to the soul searching. So I discovered this school. You know, I thought, like, just do something different.
Yeah.
Try experience. Put yourself in a location where you could experience different things, something very unique, and you know you'll find it. And I did.
So I want to. So tactically, what that looks like, because this is what I think is going to be where people can get a lot from this episode. I think a lot of people are in this struggle right now. They haven't maybe got to this point where you put the expectations down and you have an honest conversation with somebody like, dude, I am miserable or whatever. And they're sort of like, you get lost in the chaos of it and you're trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
So tactically for you, the decision that you came to was like, I just need to try more things.
Yeah.
Just figure out what resonates.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I want.
I didn't really even have a plan. Like I was just like, dude, just you gotta figure it out. You know, like you gotta go out and experience something. Like, you know, whether it's traveling or whatever, just find something that you could put yourself in a whole different space.
Right.
To focus on things you've never focused on in your life. Right.
Yeah.
For the first time, explore something fun or different. You know, something unique, and just try it.
Yep.
See what happens. And going back to my cousin, he's the one that actually sat down with my parents and we all talked about it together, where he was a big help in convincing them that, like, this should be a path that I should take, because he saw that, like, I was on the same path as him, and he's like, this is not right. He should not be doing this. You know, I'm not happy. I know he's not going to be. He's already talking about it.
If you go back to that moment, like, what were your parents' sort of reactions?
There was definitely because depression is a weird topic, I think, in foreign culture.
It's a weird topic in American culture, really. I mean, it's interesting because right now you can look at. So one of the things that really interests me is that depression tracks along with wealth of a society. So if you look at the wealth of a society, and if you could, like, lay it out in a graph, and then you were to overlay depression, you would see that they track parallel to each other. Yeah. And that really blows my mind, because all I know, obviously, is the American take. Obviously, mental health is real taboo. People are trying to talk about it because we're killing ourselves in droves right now. Right. But when you say it's, like, different in foreign culture, what is the take?
I guess what their take is like,
or the context.
They had a weird. They struggled understanding it for a while. We talked for a while, but they struggled understanding it in a sense, like, you know, what are you guys depressed about? You're here making money. You know, we came here. You're finding success. For them, they don't understand that, because my parents, they don't. You know, my dad, he found success in a trucking company. Mm-hmm. My mom, a beauty salon business. But they don't really have a lot of American friends, and they're not really too intersected with American culture as much.
One thing that seems to me is if you come from a place of little material means, then you can find meaning in the pursuit of material for a while.
Right.
But if you come from a place, or if material is a place that's almost taken for granted because you have it, like a country in Western culture like America, it doesn't lend itself to meaning to get more material. Like, you know, when you have enough, more for more's sake doesn't lend itself to meaning for most people.
Yeah. So, yeah, going back to the conversation, yeah, they just had a little hard time grasping it at first.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, they did see that we were struggling and that maybe, yeah, we do have to change something up. So the conversation was hard, but, you know, we got through it. And so the next step was to come here. Originally for broadcasting, obviously that's what they highlight here.
When you say here, like Colorado Media School.
Colorado Media School, correct.
This, yep.
Yes. To explore new avenues. But I ended up really finding a passion with something completely different, which is videography and photography.
Yep.
And boy, does it feel good to just feel passionate.
To find the thing.
Dude. I don't know how to explain this to people. If you haven't gone through it, you wouldn't understand.
You have to do enough to figure it out,
dude. It's a whole new awakening.
Yeah,
it's a whole. You know, you start to feel like a kid again. Because as a kid, you know, you're just happy and things are fine, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you looked forward to the next day, and you went on with your life.
But you love what you're doing, or I guess in a better way to put it is you do what you love, which when you're a kid is like play.
And there's a sense of having excitement for knowing that the next day you could get better at it.
Yep.
It's not just about doing it. It's also the excitement of like, man, I want to master this craft.
That's how you know it's a thing, I think. Like when you have innate curiosity around it.
Like, like I'm consumed.
Yeah.
I've learned so much just by myself, not even at school. Forget school. I'm just learning all of this on my own, like in my own free time, just constantly just surrounding myself with all this knowledge and just loving every part of it. It's crazy. I'm in such a better state. I mean, like, you know, when I was depressed, I was doing some stupid things to feel a different way. Obviously, there's things out there that you could do to make you feel that way. We all know what I'm talking about, right?
What are you talking about?
Drugs.
Oh, yeah. Pacifiers.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some pretty unpopular opinions about drugs, but mainly because we live in a world where because of everything we're talking about, we force people into a place where an anesthetic state is better than feeling alive.
And it was like that for me for a while.
That's the fucking problem. The problem isn't drugs. The problem is we have a culture that literally forces people to want to numb themselves and dumb themselves down.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It made me feel a different type of way.
Yep.
It made me forget about what state I'm in.
Yep.
And it got me to the next day.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I'm so far away from that now. Mm-hmm. And that sucks to think that I, growing up was just this sunshine of a kid, just happy, and it sucks that I fell into that.
Yep, it does suck.
And it happened.
Well, really?
But I'm okay with accepting that it happened because I got over it.
Yeah. And this is going to be a tangent and it's going to be super fast, but essentially, like, this is the thing I think about a lot is, like, when we persecute people for drug use and we throw them in jail, it's like this person has a problem that they're trying to escape from. Right. We need to put our attention in life on helping them build a life they don't want to escape from.
Yeah.
You throwing them in jail is compounding the problem. Like, you are ruining their life. And I just think, like, I mean, look, everyone has their own opinions about that kind of stuff, and we live in Colorado. It's like a pretty liberal drug state. They're putting psilocybin on the ballot in November. But I just think that the focus is wrong. Like, the focus needs to be what you and I are talking about. Like, let's help people build a life they don't want to escape from.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was an escape because there was no other way to do it. What else was I able to go to during that time to help me escape? Obviously, going to the different school and finding a different path was that other help. But before all that, there was nothing.
Yeah.
There was, these pills that I could take to, So that's kind of, I guess going back to the American dream, it's kind of I have a different take on it now in the sense that I feel like because I am taking control. And it was scary. It was scary to it's so scary to think that, for years I was going to school and I was so close to being finished, and to just drop it all, to just almost reset in a sense. It's a scary thought, but
to restart.
So worth it. So worth it.
And I think that hints at another problem, which is so many people are in their lives and they've put so much work in. They're in $200,000 in debt and they've gone to grad school and they have the career and they're fucking miserable, but they don't want to change it because they don't want to have to start over.
Right. And that's scary.
It is scary.
So scary.
Life is constant change though. Like
yeah.
you can't not change. You can resist it to the extent that you'll make yourself miserable.
Whether I succeed or not, I'm very happy on the path that I'm at because it's the first time in my life I'm on the path I want to be on.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's my path. It's not something that was chosen for me by someone else or, embedded in my head. It's something that I chose to do and I'm happy doing. And wherever I end up, that'll be the result. But, that's the way I want to go about it.
Yeah. When I first got out of the military and I was like, hey, I'm gonna podcast and I'm gonna write full time, and people are like, dude, are you gonna be able to make money? And I'm like, I don't know, but I have to try. Like I have to know. Otherwise, what are you gonna live with that what if for the rest of your life and have it eat at you while you are fucking miserable?
That goes back to the whole one chance, dude. Like we have one opportunity to do it.
Yeah. I got a buddy who, this will be a fast story, and we'll get back to it, but I have a buddy who, he's one of the smartest guys I know, and he's working this job, and he's a podcaster and a writer like I am now and a coach, and he was working this job and killing it, and his boss was he was the protege, his boss was training him to take over. It was like a 9-to-5 rat race style. One day his boss brought him in and he said, gave him his paycheck, and he said, hey, I'd like this to be your last paycheck. And it took him by surprise, and he was like, what? Like, you're firing me? Like, I'm killing it. I'm your protege, all these things. And he's like, listen, look around at this place. You know where you're going to be in 5 years or 10 years. You're going to end up in my seat. Like the whole thing, you can see it all. He was like, he's like, see all the money? He's like, you always have ideas about what you want to do differently. And you have these like sort of concepts and you have like, you're always thinking differently. He's like, look around at all these people out there. They all make, we're multiple six figures in this job. It was like $200,000 a year, whatever. He's like, do you think any of them can quit right now? They can't. Like they're in the rat race just like you are. They have a higher level they're living at a higher level. Like their bills are higher. They can't just quit and do nothing. Like they're trapped in this rat race. If you get out now and try to go on your own, you're not going to die. You're still going to be paycheck to paycheck. Best case, you kind of escape that. You write a bestseller and you kind of escape orbit and you're good. Worst case, you're still paycheck to paycheck like everybody else in the world, except you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, like obviously I'm not making as much as I used to, right?
Right.
But I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. I want to learn. I want to get better. Like I have some, like I was telling you earlier, I have some interviews coming up where I'm nervous about it, but I'm also stoked. Like I'm taking this chance. Like, I may not be the most qualified person, but you could see through my work the kind of growth I've had in such a short period of time. That's what a lot of people have told me. They're like, what do you mean you just started doing photography? I'm like, yeah, dude, just started.
I was blown away. Dude. Yeah. Because I was like looking at your work and then I thought you had been doing this for years and you just came here to like brush up or whatever. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, I'm just discovering all of it and I'm just like a sponge. I'm taking it all in. I'm contacting all these people that have done it for years and I'm like, man, that's just teach me, tell me your ways or, what do I need to do to get better? And I'm just, it's fun. It's just so fun to just wake up every day and just be like, all right, let's get it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's one lesson that listeners can take from this show, honestly, I think it's the idea that like, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to start over. Like, you got to understand, you come from, I believe in evolutionary biology, and that's kind of the stance that I take when I try to look at people's issues and how we interact in the world. You come from the lineage of millions of survivors, billions of survivors.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to figure it out. Like, that you will. Like, we have this great fear of the unknown. It's like, if I step away from what I know, it's like the problem is that what you don't know, not only does it hold everything you're scared of, but it also holds every possibility for how your life can be better.
Yeah.
And that's the part that we never think about when we're afraid to start over.
Yeah.
And that's what you're experiencing right now.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm 22 doing this, and I'm glad I figured it out now.
For sure.
Yeah, I would be glad if I figured it out ever, but it is really like a whole new awakening. It's just like being reborn, I swear. It's just, it's so hard to describe. Yeah, to anyone listening, just, if you're on the verge of making that move, do it. I don't know what else to say. I'm the happiest I could be right now. I'm not in the best situation, obviously.
Right.
Yet.
Yeah, right.
Is what I like to say.
Out,
yeah. But I'm on the finally, like I could say, this is what the American dream should be. It shouldn't be this systematic thing that we've all grown up with.
Possibility to find it for yourself. Yeah, I think.
And we're taught such a wrong perception of what it is our entire lives. And it's sad that so few people figure it out. Majority will not.
Right. I think one of the problems is sometimes we go out on this limb where we're unhappy, so we pivot, and then what we pivot to fails, and we're like, everyone's like, see, you were fucked up, go back to the rat race, and then you put your tail between your legs and you go back. But the reality is, that's just life, man. Failure is a part of this thing, like laughing and breathing is. It's the tuition you pay to learn something new. You just haven't found it yet. It doesn't mean you have to go back or you have to, admit, defeat. It's no, you just failed it. You just haven't found it yet. You haven't figured it out. It's a process. So the final question I ask every guest is the Lionheart kicker, and that is, if you could give, and you can base it on what we've talked about today, or really anything based on your experiences growing up, but if you could give advice and it were guaranteed that everybody in the world would hear it, it'd be translated to every language, what would you tell people?
I mean, just the topic that we've already explored. It's just, if you have any little bit of passion for something, and it's all about how you get up in the morning, right?
Yeah, right.
If you get up and you're in a state where you're okay with doing that you like to do, and whether you're making a lot off of it or not, money is just it's this little materialistic thing. It shouldn't drive your entire life. It shouldn't determine how you live your entire life a certain type of way. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't. Because I think that if you're doing what you want to do, you will be able to get by. Right? You could do what you want to do and also have a secondary job as well to support that passion.
Right.
Just follow whatever little hint of passion that you have. Explore it. Please just explore it. And if you don't have a passion, soul search like me. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't know what I needed to do because my whole life I never explored anything. I never felt like I was really given an opportunity to explore anything or taught by someone to go explore something.
Right.
That's a failure on our school system in a sense where I didn't really go out of my comfort zone to do something. I just simply did what I was told and I kept going. So just put yourself in unfamiliar situations. If you don't have a passion, that will be your best way of finding it. Because you're doing something completely different that you have not ever done before. And if you find something, you will know it. It's like a spark. You understand. You wake up every day, and if that's the thing that you're thinking about right away, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that's dope. For people that are listening to this and they want to follow along with you, support your journey, you put out some dope content. We're doing some stuff here soon with photos and stuff. Where's the best place for people to go to support you?
At the moment, just my Instagram. I do have a website coming up. I just want to build up my portfolio a little bit.
Yeah.
Instagram, it's Andriy. That's how you spell my first name, Andriy. Andriy _ PLTV. That's my Instagram.
Awesome.
You can follow me there. I will have a website coming up, but
cool. We'll link all of that up in the show notes of this episode. Andriy Polietov, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, sir.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to Lionheart Radio. I hope that the information from today's show will make you fitter, happier, and healthier. For the show notes of this episode and every episode, head to www.lionheartrad.io. Yep, just like Lionheart Radio. And please, if you have the time, head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us to know that we're on the right track and delivering you reliable information and value. As always, feedback is welcomed. If you have any comments on the show or would like to suggest a guest, send me an email at rick@luavive.com. That's LUAVIVE.com. Thanks for your support, and we will see you next time.
Bitch, I feel good. Don't I look stupendous? My shine is so endless, and shit you can do to end this. Even when I'm dead, niggas still gon' bump that chip shit. Coke, white, Escalade on cinches for you dipshits. So you won't forget this. Midwest nigga be the coldest. Cleveland is the